James True here. I'm pretty sure everything's back to normal. Having some technical issues as we first started out. That's not me. That's Donald Trump. Where am I here? Present? Right? No? Okay. Might have to restart. I hope that doesn't happen. Let me see. If we go to happy to be here. Let's see if we can figure out why the camera didn't work. I think I'm going to have to restart, which is a bummer. Unless we just, we can look at Trump all day. That's fine. We could do that. Does that change? Okay, so that will go off, but it will not change scenes for some reason. Just give me a sec, guys. Not sure. Sometimes it does that, where it, OBS will not change scenes for me. So there's the present mode, there's live main, and then there's present, there's main, and, yeah, a lot of weirdness. Actually, the first time when I hit start broadcast, it started streaming. So there's something funny going on. I can see that the audio is good, but I am not able to actually do anything at all. Let's see. That's a bummer. I think I'm going to have to restart. Let's see. And of course, that means we're going to have to restart the stream. Yep, there's no getting around it. I'm just living in denial right now. It's weird because it plays everything else. I think it's me. I think it's me. I think I'm having an issue with understanding because it does change to it. I can't help but think I can fix it, but honestly, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix it. I don't know why. It won't show the thing. Yeah, I'm going to have to pull it, guys. We'll see you in a bit, okay? I'm going to hit stop. I'm going to have to re-quit, then I'll hit restart. It could be that if you stay here, everything will be fine. It could be. I'm not sure how this works, but we will gather the rosebuds while we may. Yeah, have you tried turning... it didn't help. So if you go to record, this is like taking over everything. If I hit delete, which I don't want to do, but I will. Now it's 0, but then it won't show anything else. So live main is somehow... Oh, I think that might have something to do with it. Oh. Okay, I think I saw something here. Let's see. If we go to back here, we put this on, but then we switch down here to live main, and then we come into live main, which we already there. SC live main down here, and then we've got video iPhone, which is off. That's the problem, and it's off because the computer ran out of batteries, and I can fix it by doing this. Wait. Okay, so that's a good sign. Do I do that? Oh, look at that. Okay, so this is not the camera, but this one is not frozen. You guys still there? I might have lost you by now. That's cool. I deserve it. The start of the show's always a good beat, but this is not a bad recovery. I'm pulling recoveries off live. I'm not muted, right? We're back. Right? Everything's good. Like to speak to the manager. Richard, you are the manager. This is how bad it is, right? All right, great. Above and Beyond's going to roll one. Yeah, let's try this angle. How's this feel? Huh? This is going to be okay for a show? You guys going to be able to handle this? I might be able to do this. I almost didn't do a show today. I'm still glad I did, though. I'm working through some things, and I think it's important to work, even though you're going through some things. I want to tell you about it, but also, it's gonna look like sympathy, and I'm not actually. That's actually not what I want. I actually don't want sympathy. When I brought it up in the group, a lot of people will then start using the word and saying it over and over again because, it puts things in their own mind. Now you're probably wondering. I've lost a family member, and but this family member's been in a lot of pain for a long time. And I just, if it sounds creepy, I don't have the proper feelings for this thing. And I know myself well enough because I tend to cry pretty easily. So it's not because I'm a psychopath, or although I could be psychopathic, I don't fucking mind I don't even care anymore. I don't even care what you think of me anymore. I've discussed the idea that death be not proud. It has this certain sense of elegant shame to it. It's staccatically loud how rigor mortis is not limp. You would want the body to be limp. You would want a dead thing to drape. You wouldn't want it to get all stiff and hard and have its tail stick out of the back of the blanket as you're trying to, bring it into the vet. It becomes a different shade of electricity that frankly a lot of us don't have. And one of the things I like about it is that it really does, there's a nudity to loss, a nudity to it. And the rigor mortis is part of that nudity. It's an unreverent dismissing of something that used to be precious. We do this a lot with each other. We have these seagull kind of movements, meaning that at the first sign that something might have lost, the seagulls will rush in and immediately capitalize on it and eat it. They will eat it for food. And this is part of the nudity of these things because the reverence is gone, the sanctity has been removed. And I think the feeling that you're left with is not actually, so first of all, there's the death and the loss, which is totally separate. I'm talking about a very specific thing here, which is how culture itself treats death. And you notice, if you get a good, honest look at life, if you look at it in the right way, and if you have a right patience, you actually get to see how nude our reverence really is. What I'm trying to say is that a lot of people that are pretending to feel from something actually just have a motive. And the motive is typically used in a polite way of taking something they want without anyone seeing. And the feeling that I get is the grossness that someone is doing that over the dead body of something else. This is a common theme that we practice in politics, we practice in life, pretty much practice it in social stuff too. This isn't just for the elite. Socially, you see this too, and people will express their loss. And there is sometimes a very big obligation that comes with that. There used to be rules, in fact, about how you would mourn, and more importantly, how you would not mourn, when you would have to stop mourning by law. And if you look back at why you would have to stop mourning by law, there was probably someone profiting from the death. Now, this profit could come from monetary gain. Certainly, we know stories of one spouse killing another for their money, but we as a society are not willing to address how we socially profit in the same way. And this is a seagulling effect. It's the idea of mine, which I think is fine. This is, I don't think that we are broken. I'm not trying to shame humanity for this. I want to find a way to show you that when you're in the black car and no one else is around, I fucking see you. And you probably see me. And none of these things get to come out. And when we step out and walk up to the tombstone, we're not going to behave this way. We have a very different reaction. I don't mind you insisting that that's not the case and that you are special and that you are the only person who authentically never has those things. It's fine. It's, man, fucking claim it. This is as any of a seagull moment as anything else is. And if you've lived a life that's real, for example, if you fell for voting, I'm not interested in you telling me that you spent your whole life and never fell for voting. I'm not impressed by that. I'm more impressed that you fell for voting and you lost. If you never fell for voting, way to go, but you're not getting a gold star from me. You can get a gold star from other people. I'm not trying to withhold you from the gold star, but I'm not impressed by that. I think that there's probably something nefarious. Either you're apathetic, or you're completely distracted, or you just fucking lived an epigenetic life and you knew right away, you saw right through the whole thing from the time you were 5. All 3 of those are equally possible. I don't have a bet on any of those channels, if that makes sense. We see these in movies, we see it in TV, where it's typically a widow. She's usually kind of a hottie. I'm just telling you, this is how it happens. It's typically like a blonde widow. She's hottie. She puts on some like Black Widow lipstick and she's got a veil, and in the car she's smiling, or she's discussing with the pool boy what they're going to do to each other later. And it's such a beautiful picture that we can say, that's not me. And so you get to believe that this kind of stuff never happens. But the truth of it is that the relationship that you had with someone who dies, you don't know who you are until they're gone. And more importantly, you don't know who they were. You don't know who they were until every tentacle has been severed. I use the word tentacle here because we are codependently manipulating each other in a symbiotic way. It's absolutely natural. It's increasingly important. And when I look at the world and how many people lie in it, I used to say this would be a sign that we're broken, or this is a sign that we should lose hope. And I now, as you've heard, because I know I say it all the time, but I think it's such a creative act that I'm able to absorb it more and find it fascinating, maybe too fascinating. I might be someone who has spent a lot of his life obsessing over lies, and I'm going to tell you why. It's because of the gauntlet that I came through. I suffered a lot of struggle in the sense of keeping hold of reality precisely because I gave so much belief to what everyone else said. I helped them believe that. I am a vessel of purity for other people to come and insert their belief. It's just fucking true. Why is it true? I think my enthusiasm has always been charismatically attractive to other people. And when people see my enthusiasm, they're able to jack into that. And people will typically come to me and find the inklings of a belief and leave with a full-blown religion after speaking to me. And I don't even necessarily believe what they do. I am a craftsman and a technician for the engineering of belief. I build the tranny and the chassis and the frame and the differential, and you place everything else on top of the car. It's your car. It's your belief. I'm the mechanic that helps it go. Vroom, vroom. This is a skill I've had, and it's a skill that's been difficult for me because I just frankly want to believe people. I don't want to spend a lot of time insisting that cars are bad or transmissions shouldn't be there. I think they're important. And so I've watched the world full of lies, and sure, my last name's true, and it's really just a coincidence for me. I'm more reminded of it than I am aware of it, if that means anything. But as I struggle through, I really start to notice how much people take from me because I now find belief so important. I find it important. Since I started this channel, there's been people that have come in that say, I want to help, and I wanted to believe them. These people have ended up and sometimes draining me from $300 to $600 a month, taking money from me from the patron budget that I've tried to raise to produce this show under the auspice that they are helping me. One of these was my fucking aunt. These are people that are deeply seated in my life. In my entire life, they have been there sucking at the teats of my bloodstream on every day. I know this is vicious as fuck. I don't think I should be streaming right now. I don't. When you go through a loss, and it wasn't my aunt, but when you go through a loss, you finally, for the very first time, understand what the fuck was happening. And if you've been in this situation for your entire life, you may never know. And suddenly now you're on this other side and you find yourself in a very precarious position because you're aware of something that you were living in denial about the whole time. The generation that raised me is horribly selfish, horribly self-centered, has zero respect for change or growth, lacks the ability to admit they're wrong every single fucking time, pushes forward every single problem through inflation, through military incursion, through voting onto us, and then bitches about us because somehow it's our fault. Most of the patrons that have been in that baby boomer realm that have come here, I say most, to help, have been some of the most selfish people I've ever met. Some of them have gotten so selfish that I've actually had to call them out in dojo because they've insisted that they're mad because people aren't noticing how generous they are. And it's been so gross that it's forced me to say, you were so fucking not generous. The fact that you were here demanding that people call you generous might be a fucking clue that you're not seeing this correctly. And I've championed these things. I've cavaliered these things. I've been destroyed by these things. I've been demonetized by these things. I've been imbued and empowered by these things. So it's a struggle in the dark. But one thing that I've had to do is to look at the baby boomer generation and realize that the only reason why I am fucking ashamed of you guys is because of how much you had to have taught me. The fact that I'm ashamed of this and I'm watching you and you're not shows me the difference between you and I. It shows me that. And when you look at the Apollo program, when you look at the Cold War, when you look at fucking rumors like Reagan and Star Wars, when you look at dare to keep off drugs, when you look at fentanyl, excuse me, or whatever the fuck else it is, or thank you for your service, or all the other fucking countries that we keep invading, or when you look at the fucking news for literally 3 seconds, the retarded inherency that's been given to us, frankly, I'm ashamed of. I find it shameful. And the entire time, what makes me ashamed of it is that I've been respecting these people my entire life. My entire life, I've been told that the way I'm seeing it is wrong and that one day this will make sense, and the day is here and it doesn't make fucking sense. I should not be streaming right now. I've already cussed a lot. I don't think this is a good show for y'all. I don't. I don't know why I'm here. Oh yeah, because I have to push through. You got to push through. Understanding this feeling, I think most people are never going to have. I don't think you're going to afford it. It's a luxury. It's a luxury. Yeah, respect your elders is a psyop. It's ultimately the psyop that I think has created more of the worst things that have happened to us around. Am I blaming everything? Yeah, I kind of am, because they're the ones that are like, stop questioning us. That was fucking them. And when yours truly is showing signs of brilliance at 13, saying, I'm having trouble with school, I'm finding this place very painful, maybe it was a good fucking idea to let me test out. Maybe a good fucking idea would be, hey, maybe he's fucking ready for more than George Washington was the first president for the fucking 8th time. Every year, regurgitating the same thing. And now he's expressing an emotional discomfort, which means clearly he's broken, so we need to discipline him more. We need to send him to more school. And this same fucking generation is the generation that writes me and says some of the shit that I get from people. It's hard, man. It's hard. And the only reason why it's hard is because it's embarrassing. That's the only reason why. It's embarrassing. I should be mourning a loss. That's what I should be doing. I should not be online. I shouldn't be streaming, because I should be telling you how much I miss this person. And that's not what's fucking there. You know what's there is, what the fuck just happened? And I think if we really understand our experience as we move through, this isn't about a particular parent. It's actually just about society and the world at large. I think this is a sign of progress. This is a fucking motor. I've said this before, but I need to say it again, because the anger I feel is shame. The shame I feel is definitely shame about me for accepting this shit. But more importantly, it's shame for them, because I'm just like, why are you walking around like proud of shit right now? Why are you walking around judging everything else in the world? Is like, well, look how messed up. Look at what you fucking did. Look at what you did to all of us when you told us that we were wrong. Because I remember growing up thinking, this is stupid. I remember thinking that. I remember saying, it seems like video games are like pretty fucking big. It seems like maybe that's something we should be doing. But it was even taught at the point then. It was like, well, it can't be video games because it's fun. Look, man, if you're going to participate, you got to have a shitty time. And when you peel off the face of that fucking Xipe Totec and you look at the person underneath, you realize that the entire time, this generation that has wanted you to suffer only wants you to suffer because of the laws of fraternity and sorority, which is that I was hazed and you will be fucking hazed too. And if you pull your mask off in the middle of this ceremony and you get to pull your pants back up and you don't have to fucking go whack off in a coffin or do whatever, James, you were going to make a fool out of me. And not once have we had a fucking generation that's willing to stop and say, you know what? I was a fucking fool. You hear what I just said? I was a fucking fool because of how much reverence I put into people that were bleeding me fucking dry. They were bleeding me dry and insisting, James, if you keep on believing that there's a magical universe here, we are going to have to make this even harder for you. And I am fucking pissed. Because the entire time there's a deep assumption that everyone knows what's going on. Nobody, including me, knows what the fuck is going on. And the only reason why these illusions are able to persist is because people are believing that there are people who know what the fuck is going on. And one of the biggest dick sucks is the deep state has it all figured out. This is the largest dick suck. They are choking on this thing because the idea that there could be someone out there who knows what's going on feels so much better, and we would rather enslave ourselves under this fucking pinnacle of someone knows what's going on, but there's just a very particular reason why they can't tell it to you, but they know. So they control the fucking weather. They control time. They control history. They control every single fucking thing about you, which is why you must obey. And this is fucking 1980. It has only gotten worse. We have only crammed that dick further down. And each generation gets worse and they get paid. It gets worse and they get paid. And I'll tell you, you know what saved me? I didn't get paid. I got an ex-wife driving around in a Tesla, having everybody tell her, I can't believe that you were able to survive such a horrible, horrible situation. She's like, yeah, I know. I'm free now. I've learned how to find my own freedom. And it's like, yeah. This is the seaguling that we all do. We all do it. I went to a meeting in California with the head of EMC. Actually, the meeting was in Vegas. We were discussing what kind of video game experience can we bring to the next conference that will really blow them away, Rick, says the client. Like, I really want something that's going to change the paradigm and make every single person at the convention come to our booth and play our game. What should we do? And Rick turns to me because I'm the dude he fucking turns to when no one's around and says, James, what do you think we do? And I say, I think the answer is FPS. And people are like, what is FPS? I'm like, first-person shooter. Then I start to explain what a first-person shooter is. And something happens. A fork drops. Something happens. James from the South has a different smell. And if I know for a fucking fact, if I was not the person who brought up first-person shooter, this would not have happened. Because the next thing that happened is we started talking about gun control. The client and Rick are discussing the morality of gun control. And it turned into an opportunity to signal about gun control. And it turned into a scapegoat moment where, well, James is fucking from the South. He's a redneck, so he probably loves guns. And he's not going to know what's going on here. And it wasn't until weeks later that I realized that one of the guys on my team was gay. And I don't fucking care if you're gay. I have no fucking beef with your being gay. But he was gay, and he had decided that because I'm from the South, I must therefore have a problem with him. In those 2 weeks, the smell was secreted from his pores that we need to be cautious about what James says. I get it if you want to type right now. You're a fucking lunatic. The paranoia you have in your mind about all these things, James, you have no proof of these things. Where's your deposition? Yeah, this is why I don't talk about it. I don't fucking tell you the secrets. I can't afford to, because you will take them away from me. You will take them away by insisting that I'm a paranoid, blah, 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 blah. And I'm telling you, I can see these thoughts. I can see them. And when it was 5, I would tell my parents the phone's ringing and it's Gloria. It's my grandmother. The phone's ringing. It's Gloria. Like 3 days later. Yeah, I called you the other day. No. It's like, yeah, I fucking know. I told you. I told you my grandmother's calling. Do you know why my grandmother's calling? And I know it because I have a connection to her. Do you know why I have a connection to her? Because I am my fucking grandfather. I'm the living embodiment of my grandfather. And she fucking loves my grandfather, which means she loves me. She can't fucking help it. I could be the worst behaved child in the world, and she'd be like, oh my God, that guy's fucking great. It was the only solace I had, and it wasn't even a true solace. It true was based on the belief that I was infallible, that I was living in another body and I'm being reincarnated. So I don't get to bitch about who's going to necromancy. You're going to get necromanced too. I'm necromancing you right now. I really wish to fuck some of you guys would join Patreon. Last year I spent 8 of 12 months underneath poverty. I know. I get it. Everything's hard. But if we cannot find my show valuable enough for me to go through poverty, I'm going to go through these monthly fucking menstruations where I'm just like, I shouldn't be doing this because clearly the world does not want me to survive. It is 1 month out of 12. I've missed my budget this month, 1/12. That's almost 10%. 10% of my life this year is already lost, and I'm still putting it on forward going, I have faith that I will make it through the desert and patrons will suddenly decide we need more and more people will come. I wish the fuck that would happen. And then when I do and I ask, I feel horrible because the same thing because of FPS, because I can read the things on the screen. And I think you guys smell me and you smell my self-worth and you think, I don't know if he deserves it. I don't know if he deserves it. And I watch people that have families, giant cars, brand new mortgages. And I'm not even asking for that. I'm asking for poverty wages to put on a show. And you know what? The show costs money. I have to pay Epidemic Sounds $20 a month just so I can play you music. That's right there. Adobe. I have to pay them fucking $80 a month just so I can edit video and edit thumbnails. On top of that, I just dropped. I'm no longer on Rumble as of 2 days ago. I'm no longer on Rockfin, which will be soon. And I'm dropping those because it costs $100 for me to pay Restream so I can stream to multiple places. I'm doing this as best I can. Last year I fell through my deck. I can't afford a fucking porch. This is the world we live in, and this is how I smell to everyone, that I don't need money. And more importantly, that the patriarch above me, people can come and say they're going to help and take money from me. Take money from me, my own family. You don't know these things because it's too fucking hard. You don't want to drink this. You go through things like with Owen Benjamin, where he's like, guys, we need to do this. We're going to fix the world. We need to fucking help out James and fucking raise money because he's going to build this campground to have this land. We're going to make it happen. And then $200,000 later, I'm a Luciferian, doesn't talk to me. I get I bring it up all the time. I know I do. You know why I bring it up all the time? Because I'm struggling with money. I'm struggling with money and I bring it up all the time. That's why. If I'm not struggling with money, I don't bring it up. Is it all the time? No. But when it is, I bring it up. I've made smart investments with my life. I still lose. Do I lose because life is unfair? No. I lose because I've been trained to lose by the people that came before me. I've been trained to be drained. I've been trained to be a source of resources for everyone else. I hired Jennifer and Azaya. What is her name? Aria. She wouldn't even give her real name. And I'm paying those two like a monthly fee because we're trying to build like a budget. We're trying to appeal to patrons more, all that stuff. And like for like 3 months of pay, she just like disappears. She doesn't contact me back. And that's money that came from the patrons that I was reinvesting. And the whole time I'm proud of myself because I'm thinking I'm creating jobs in the middle of COVID. This is kick-ass. And it's not kick-ass. I'm squandering money that people gave me. And I'm letting it go to my aunt, letting it go to Brent, a guy who sent me $400 last month. And even now, when he's sending me $400, I have to say, Brent, I can't thank you for this because you were able to take $300 off of me every month for over a year. So you're not helping me. I go through these situations all the time. James York swore to be my best friend, disclosed patient data, came down here. I told him I needed help building a porch. I couldn't get help from anyone else. I had to pay him $2,000. So I spent more money on help than I did on wood on this porch. And I'm the one that dug the concrete footers myself. Yet this isn't a stream for you. It's not a stream. Here's what I'm trying to say. This is not a poor me. Yeah, it's a poor me. It is a poor me, okay? It is, because I don't know why I deserve so little in this world. I do not understand why, no matter what the fuck I do, it's just not going to happen. I spent all weekend on this video. I got 2 tweets. I got 2 retweets on that video, that music video I made. And one of them was like, dude, I can't fucking, the music's too loud. And it's like, it's a music video. It's a music video. There's captions there, but it's a music video. I can bitch about this stuff. I hope you'll laugh about it. But I want you to know I see something past this. I've saw something past this for a while. I don't know how to enunciate it because I feel if I have to fix it first, then I can really enunciate it, and it hasn't been fixed yet. The enunciation is that all of this is in me. All of this is based on my ability to open ion channels to receive certain things. This is the only reason why. This has nothing to do with anyone else or the deceptions in the world. It has everything to do with how much I dilate my own fixtures. How much I am willing to open myself up in order to feel that I belonged in this place. Here's the con. I am sucking energy off everyone else because I need everyone else to tell me whether or not I belong in this place. Who is conning who? Who is conning who? Do you understand? I don't know if you do. Because if you set this up and you build a carriage, you will be able to build your own poor me carriage and go out and say, look at how little I have. And you see, and I'm verifying that for you, which is why I don't talk about it a lot, because I want you to see deeper. I've already seen what's there, even though I can't make it true. And I'm doing the same thing Elon Musk does, doing the same thing Billy Mitchell does, a guy we're getting ready to talk about, the same thing Rogers does too. It's so easy to see when others have their tentacles in us, but it's impossible for us to notice when our tentacles are in you. Why would I notice that? You kidding? I'm sitting here playing victim? I can't fucking say that I'm actually backpedaling and needing you to give me my own self-worth. But the truth of it is, if you look at the entire concept of what it means to be in this show business, the idea that I'm here to entertain you, I would have to be extroverted in some way for this to work. I would have to be in some sort of state where I desperately need this to happen, because I don't think anyone would naturally do this unless that person was broken. I don't think so, because this is a hard racket. This is something difficult to do. I have to present my product for free, but then also convince you through that product that it's retroactively working something, which means half the audience is cut out who doesn't even have a neocortex, and then the other's cut out who says, yeah, but will I get credit for this? Will I receive fame for this? How can me giving that to you help me otherwise? And it's the same reason why I give Adobe money, the same reason why I give Epidemic Sound. You know what? I'll tell you something. Whenever a song plays that I really like, I'm glad that I'm paying Epidemic Sound. It makes me feel like I'm a part of this world. I don't feel that way with Adobe. Working on it. But if I was to shut down the show for 2 months, I could eliminate the $50 or $80 Adobe charge. I could eliminate that because I would learn DaVinci, and then I would have to write my own Photoshop inside of Unity. I could do that. I'm not against that. But I only have so much time. And when I'm doing that, I'm noticing that the world's like, yeah, you're not really worth the same thing that Adobe would want, James. You're not really worth that. And I'm just like, why? It's like, I'm going to need 20 of you just to pay for the things that I already told you about. I'm going to play music. I need a ability to add a video. I need a subscription to Storyblocks. And if I want to stream on more platform, I'm going to have to pay $9 a month to restream. So I don't do those things. Those are luxuries that I cannot afford. The world cannot afford that unless I can change my posture and somehow generate more. So how do you generate more? I don't know. It's fucking hard. I do think it has something to do with posture. And the reason why I think it has something to do with posture is because I watch how the people lie. And the people that lie that have money, they're doing that not because they're lying. What's working is the posture. It's the posture. Because all lie is a placebo belief that something's going to happen. And so it does. So I have a placebo belief that I'm going to suffer financially for most of my life. I have a placebo belief that I'm going to be constantly imbuing someone else who does a lot better because of me, and then they kick off of me and tell me what a piece of shit I was in their life. That's a very common theme. Is it all the way? No. Why isn't it all the way? Because I couldn't afford that. I was looking for a posture that had just the right amount of poor me with just the right amount of, you see, I deserve some. This is my engine. It's my poor me, I deserve a little something engine. I'm poor me that I deserve a little something engine. My poor me and I deserve a little something engine. This is the best I come up with. Why? Is it because I'm not creative? No. I'm creative as fuck. I just am. Sorry. I'm creative as fuck. I'll say it again. I'm creative as fuck. I really have a hard time finding other people that are as creative as I am. Renee's fucking right there. Okay, she's probably more creative than I am. But the point is that I think I'm willing to suffer more for that creativity. That's the one thing I maybe I'm a little bit better at. And that when you when you have this, you're just going to go crazy if you don't use it. You're just going to go insane. So you have to use it. But then when you use it, you shoot your mouth off and you go in and you say, we need a first-person shooter. And now you're having debate about video games. And the whole time, I'm angry because I'm noticing, what the fuck? You guys are really trying to say, are we really trying to say that we don't play first-person shooters here? Are we really fucking trying to say that our culture is so great that no one who works for EMC, that no one who works in the largest computer manufacturing company in the fucking world plays video games? What? And we are, because that's the culture. And if you want to know what put off that culture, it's my fucking smell. I'm sitting at the table. Gas is leaving my pores. The gas has these codons, and these codons are saying, I have such a deep, deep, deep musk. I've rolled around in some dead things. And I've been brought to Vegas as an expert, and all the things that I've rolled around in, that musk is getting into everyone, and they're changing. And there's a fear at the table that we're going to fucking unleash, and this guy's going to do it. We don't even know who to blame, so we got to fucking put a kibosh on this. And so you start to talk, and then there's an opportunity to give James his props, to say, James, this is what you're fucking worth, James. Here's the fucking keys to the Ferrari. And I put out the smell that says, I don't know if I deserve this thing. Most of the people in my family said I didn't. Most of the people that have been around me have said, you're fucking crazy. And I put out that smell. I released the codons of doubt through the vent holes of my underarms. I was not wearing enough aluminum. I remember that trip. I remember going, fuck, I have to wear deodorant. I remember that trip. I remember what it felt like to button the pants that I've never wear. I remember what it felt to put aluminum on under my skin. I remember what it felt to be wondering what the back of my neck looked like for the first time in a long, long time. All these things create signatures that create smells, and the codons go out and they start to say different things. They start to convey different things, and these different things are broadcasted to everyone else. And I want to share it with you, but I fucking need patrons to do it. That's all. I have the lowest interest rate of any house payment you could possibly make in 2 years because I was really smart a long time ago. When I had money and I was a programmer, I'm like, I'm going to fucking put this into my house. I'm not going to always have money, I said. And I created this thing, and I created this place, and now the water bill is I'm not making this up, 5 times higher than it used to be. And now my insurance, which is not part of the insurance rate, but the insurance on the mortgage itself, and my water bill are now higher than my house payment used to be. You feel it too, I know. But this is where I'm at. I can't afford these things. And it's the beginning of the year, and as soon as I leave the gate, I'm just like, fuck. How am I going to pay for all these things? How am I going to pay for it? And I'm not. I'm just not. Just not. Or I change my posture. I'm trying to change my posture. And frankly, I'm wondering if this death is going to do that. I'm wondering if this death that has happened, the first thing I thought of is, am I free? Isn't that fucking sick? First thing I thought is I asked myself, am I free? I had to ask myself. I had to ask my pores, am I free? Am I allowed to have self-worth now? Am I allowed to like myself again? I think that this is a rare opportunity, not necessarily for you, but for me. Because if you're feeling this way as soon as someone's gone, that fucking tells you something. But if you don't trust yourself, it's not going to tell you a damn thing. You got to pull out of it what you can pull out of it, right? You got to do that, you know? You guys want me to keep going? Because we could just end it. It looks like there's a lot of people here, though, so I will. I've actually have a show. Let's see if we can make this thing work. Because, let's see if this is, I'm trying to get to my thing. Appreciate you guys. Let's listen to this, shall we?
Under the leadership of our next Secretary of Defense, who I just saw, Pete Hegseth, who's fantastic. Where is Pete? I saw him backstage. I don't know. There's so many people How do you find anybody in this crowd? This is a big crowd. But if Pete's around, if Pete can hear this, come on up here, Pete. But we will again build the most powerful military the world has ever seen. We're going to have it. You know, we did that 4 years ago, and then it was a little bit dissipated. But we're going to do it again, but much bigger, much stronger than ever before. We're also doing the Iron Dome, all made in America. We're going to have a nice Iron Dome. You're going to protect us with.
Did you hear that? Sorry about that. Thank you, Renee. Did you hear that? He just said Iron Dome. Did you hear that? He just said Iron Dome. Sorry for being muted. He just said Iron Dome. He said we're going to have the biggest Iron Dome. He just said we're going to have an Iron Dome. I'm still muted? Wait. Okay, I think I'm probably not still muted. I'm going to wait a sec. Sorry, guys. James, this is why you can't have patrons, dude. I'm still muted? No, well, she just said no. That means she heard me. So no means yes. See, now she's... Renee, this is not helping. First you type no, then you type yes. I don't think I'm muted now. Yeah, appreciate it. He just said Iron Dome. He just said Iron Dome. You did hear the Iron Dome, though, right? You did hear that. He just said we're going to make an Iron Dome.
The use of the Iron made it, but much bigger, much stronger than ever before. You know, we did that 4 years ago, and then it was a little bit dissipated. But we're going to do it again, but much bigger, much stronger than ever before. We're also doing the Iron Dome, all made in America. We're going to have a nice Iron Dome. You're going to protect us with the use of the Iron Dome. Instead of worrying about political agendas, you don't have to worry about that at all. There's only one focus: defeating America's enemies. We're not going to be defeated. We're not going to be humiliated. We're only going to win, win, win. We're going to win, win, win.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 47th President of the United States, President Donald J. Trump.
Okay, I want you to watch this too. I want you to watch this too because it's...
Trump, accompanied by First Lady, Mrs. Melania Trump.
It gets weird. Melania looking like a signature of Trump. The signature, the signing of Trump is kind of expressed in her dress, right? There's like a Trump written in there. Okay, what? This... Yes, Skynet is the Iron Dome above. I think you're right on that.
Hallelujah. Glory, glory. Hallelujah.
This is something, guys. My God. Look at this. Fuck yeah. The vibrato, dude's got it, man.
Please welcome Vice President J.D. Vance, accompanied by
It
Second
gets...
Lady.
You think
Xipe
that's...
Vance.
Keep watching.
Oh, hush, little baby.
Hush, little baby. Don't you cry. That's right. It's like Elvis America, right? Hush.
You know your daddy was.
You think I'm making this up? This is not AI. Look at him, Vance pointing. Are they going to slow dance? Oh my God.
My trials, Lord,
It's a slow dance. It's Sadie Hawkins.
will soon be over.
I think they do this for extra dimensional reasons, Eric. Yeah,
Please
I think
welcome
you're right.
Sergeant Tatiana Saldana,
Watch
United
this.
States Space Force. Sergeant Henry Waller, United States Army. Staff Sergeant
They grow up
Alexis
so fast.
Martinez, United States Marine Corps. And Petty Officer Emmanuel Gamble, United States Navy.
Couple skate. That's right, Amanda.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
Now we're doing a little Polly want a partner? A little partner swap. Trump is dancing with Space Force. Fondling the Space Force. Right now, look at Trump. Space Force, I'm going to take you back to the White House and Bill Clinton. Ain't got nothing on you and me, Space Force. This is... Oh, guys, truth is marching on right now. His truth is marching on. Space Force is pretty awesome. Yeah, I think it is too, Ryan. It's pretty awesome. It's fantastic. This is a country, not a church. This is a country. It's not a church. This is not AI, Nate. I swear to you. I did not do this. I did not make this. This is actually on NBC News. It's fantastic, guys. You know what I like about America is we don't worship no monarchy. We're not wandering around saying, "Oh, monarchs, kings and queens rule us." We'd never fall for that. Never happened. But I'm being bitter. And I'll tell you how to be bitter too. I don't want you to be bitter, but I'm going to tell you how to be bitter so you'll understand. Because if you can see that you have toilet paper attached to the bottom of your shoe when you've left the restroom like I have, you and I are going to make more friends here. So I'm going to tell you how you're being bitter. I want you to imagine that you are at the Super Bowl, that you've been given a ticket to the Super Bowl and that you went. I know. It was valet parking. You didn't have to deal with anything, but you went. And you're there at the Super Bowl and you notice that one of the players on the field, let's say, is playing for the Vikings, and the Vikings, I don't know who's playing, and the Vikings are playing against the Lions. I'm just making this up. And the quarterback for the Vikings used to be the quarterback for the Lions. And here you are at the game, and you've noticed this. And you're a lifelong Vikings fan. Not only that, your dad was killed by someone who was supporting the Lions. And your entire life, you've been brought up into this world feeling that the Vikings is the most important thing to your hope and salvation in the future that you may bring. So there you are. And you notice that your quarterback used to play for the Lions. What do? First of all, you're right. You pull up your phone, you verify it, you have proof. Second of all, when you tell your most trusted buds this truth, they don't seem to care. In fact, they kind of obfuscate. They say, no, he would never do that. And then you show them, and they say, well, that's just propaganda. And then you sit down and you start to you recheck your facts, you check all your things, you look at the field again, and you see that, and then you bring it up to your friends again, and it's the same thing. They shoot you down. So where are you right now? Where are you? Because I think what's happening is that you are suffering from a loss of immunity. This is what I think truly is happening. Is that the moment that happens, you've lost the strength that you had in your epidermis is gone, because you notice that the people that also had strength don't actually have it to begin with. And you betray yourself. You don't know this consciously yet, but emotionally you feel it. You betray yourself because you realize that your beliefs are based on the same thing. And when you go to your own side and you ask for verification of belief and they take that away from you, you suffer. Your immunity suffers. And so when you're at the Super Bowl and you run outside and you print out flyers, and the flyers expose the truth that the football player for the Vikings used to work for the Lions, and no one cares, you slip through the entire illusion of that place, because there's not one person in that entire stadium that is going to hear you. It's not. The only people that are going to pretend to hear you, they're going to rob you when you go to the bathroom. They're going to tell you they see these things. They're going to tell you they see these things because they smell how desperate you are. And they're going to want to cling to you because they know that they're getting ready to profit. They want to go back to the game. Beer is $14. They need that from you. So they will tell you that they believe that you're right. They will play with you along this way. They will say and do whatever is necessary for you to feel even more desperate about this thing. And I've just described to you how the world works. There is no one in that stadium who's interested in what you have to say. This is the only opportunity your belief has to stand on its own feet. It's the only chance you'll ever have. And if you're going to keep going out and keep insisting that people believe you, you're blowing it. And more importantly, one of the worst things that could possibly happen is that you would find people that believe the same thing as you do. James, how is that the worst thing? Because it takes away the opportunity that you just had. 60% of all marriages in America, someone cheats. Did you know this? I don't know how accurate this is either way. What I'm saying is that I don't know if it's more true than false or more false than true. It's more about the fact that we have this statistic out there and people are okay with it, I think is more important to what I'm trying to say. That the number of people who cheat on their partner, men, about 20% of married men report cheating on their spouse. This is what they report. Women, about 13%. Okay, so let's take this math. If 20% of the men are admitting that they cheat and 13% of the women are admitting they cheat, however, up to 60% of people who are married will actually cheat on someone during their marriage, then that tells you that someone is lying. Are the men lying more than the women? I don't really fucking care. The point is that we have a society which is probably more based on the cheating than it is not. And I show you Xipe Totec because I think the Oracle mythology was seeing this thing. Xipe Totec is a Mesoamerican figure, a god, and many people throughout Mesoamerica, this would be all the way as far north as the New Florida 2.0, formerly known as Mexico, as far south as even Chile. You have these people that are worshiping Xipe Totec, this skinwalker. And if you think about a young psychology that's learning to bud, people might be starting to learn the ability to psychologically hide. And that inside this village that's sacrificing human hearts so it can survive, which is kind of more of a primitive kind of a state, you're starting to notice something new take place, which is lying. You're starting to notice that people are able to place a different skin on top of themselves, and they started to worship this. I would argue to you that it's quite possible that Xipe Totec is the god of lies, that it's the first acknowledgement that we could put on an outer skin that would protect how we truly feel, that how we truly feel could be hidden by an outer skin of something else. And that this truly, truly, truly is the ultimate medicine that each of us need. And the reason why we worship Xipe Totec, the reason why the priest would carve off the skin of a princess and wear it on his body, is because the psyche was coming online and it was very confused about what to do with these things. If you don't know the story of the Aztecs, you're looking at a swamp that was slowly drained. Washington, D.C. is a swamp that's not really being drained, but the idea is that we're building a civilization off of draining it. So this is a primitive fractal of the same thing. So that Mexico City is a swamp that's slowly drained, and what's put in its place is a temple of authority. We have a temple of authority, and the temple of authority there was a bicameral house, and we have a bicameral house here. And one is sacrificing people for global warming, the other is sacrificing people for terrorism, and we have that here. And that people are worshiping skinwalkers. People are worshiping other people who are fake. People are paying homage and allowing Xipe Totec into your home. If you were the representative of Xipe Totec, you might spend all year as this wandering dead creature. And during that time, you can walk into pretty much any house and take anything you want, drink anything you want, touch anyone you want, say anything you want because you were Xipe Totec. You are paying the fee, and everyone is accepting you doing this because at the end of the year, you're going to fucking pay. This is what the village says. Yeah, you can have this now. Sure, Xipe Totec. You can have this now. And I'm going to really enjoy taking your ass up to the top of the pyramid and opening your chest up when it's ready. So the whole town has this medicine of this wandering minstrel who comes in and is allowed to take everything. And he's living a mask. He has the skin of something else on top of him, and he's wandering around. He's saying one thing and doing another. And that the people are worshiping this thing. They let it into their homes. They let it into their lives the same way you and I feed on DC that I'm showing you videos right now. How dare me? That we are worshiping the same kind of skinwalkers because we were raised by skinwalkers. And we're raised by skinwalkers because skinwalking is immunity. How do you hide when you're crawling through the desert? You block the light. You remove yourself from the sun. You eliminate your witness. If you could carve someone else's skin up and put it on top of you, it'd be the same thing. There's a southern, can I just pull this up? The southern part of Mexico City. Again, Mexico's pretty much dry now. So what used to be in the swamp was basically city now. And in the southern place, I don't even think you're going to be able to see it, which is why I don't know if this is a good thing to bring this up as far as on the map, because I don't know how well this will happen. But if we switch into... will this go away? If we imagine this place right out here around, I'm sorry guys, I do not know how to pronounce these things, but Sernovesa, around this place, this southern area right here used to be underwater. And when it was underwater, it had a lake. I bet you Aztec Lake, Mexico City. And in one of these places, maybe this is a better... Yeah, here we go. Here we go. Wait a minute. You showed it to me, then you hit it. Here we go. We're here. Wait a minute. Let me just get the image open. Well, that's a terrible image. this will work if it's bigger. Okay, so right around here, if you can see my mouse, yeah, you can see my mouse. Right around here is one of the city's early settlements. And so the people that we know as the Aztecs used to be a bunch of different tribal gangs. And the tribal gangs were around mostly on the West Coast. There definitely were places all around, but one of the strongest, one of the most brutal was right around this area. And that area, it says on this map, it says Tacuba, but I don't think that was the original name. And forgive me for not having this more. I didn't realize I was going to talk about this specifically. But right around this area is pretty much where the biggest, baddest tribe was that was running the place. And they decided, we want to take over the whole lake. We want to create a conglomerate. We want to create a confederacy. And so they went around and they appealed to everyone. And when they got down here to this place, to where this peninsula is, and they found a village, and the village says, and they're like, hey, we want to join up and unite and do all these things. And the chief's like, yeah, sounds great. Can we borrow your daughter for a ceremony? And the Aztec chief's like, well, you want Ivanka? He's like, yeah, can we borrow Ivanka? And they're like, yeah, you can borrow Ivanka. Sure. It's like, yeah, we just want to honor her. He's like, okay, yeah. Ivanka, go down there. They will honor you. Everything will be great. And Ivanka's like, great. Well, it doesn't work out. Turns out they peel Ivanka's skin off of her body in a live ceremony. And they do it delicately. And then they do things to her heart and a few other things. And then they invite the king to come back. And the king comes back. And they have a big ceremony, a big feast for him. And out walks the priest. And the priest is wearing his daughter's skin. It changes things. The first lie changes things. That lie changed things completely. And frankly, it separated the men from the boys. It separated the cannibals from normalcy. It created a state, which was already there, it's fine, but if you think about it now, it created a state where everyone who said what they wanted suddenly realized that what they want and what they're willing to do were two different things. This is nature. I don't mind you calling it psychopathy, but it's also nature. Nature and psychopathy run hand in hand because it would require psychopathy for you to see a mirage. It would require psychopathy for you to build a palisade. It would require psychopathy for you to live as if everything was one way. And so this birth of lying is still here. We're still struggling with these things. But I don't mean struggling in the sense of our world's broken because we lie. I mean that if more than half of the marriages are actually people cheating on each other, then I think that we're just practicing this ritual of Xipe Totec. We're practicing the idea that we could wander around this world and get anything we want, that the village would be forced to feed us as long as we were wearing the right skin. In the generation before me that came and saw that I had patrons and said, hey, I will just take this from you, they're doing the same. And so what do? I don't know. I don't know what I should do. I want to be comfortable here. I want to be comfortable in a world that Xipe Totec shows up every day. I want to be comfortable in that. And frankly, I'm thankful that the Mesoamericans were more honest with what was happening because the violent tendencies of what Xipe Totec connotates, I think, are real. They're very much true to this day. And if we start to look at why we were trying to practice the magic of hiding in someone else's skin and revering that, it's probably because we were trying to learn how to lie better. That we hadn't found the right magical spell. That we were working on it. We were going to need more clothes. We were going to need more skin. We were going to need more calories to invest to hide ourselves from these things. And so we need to assign Xipe Totecs that are so good at this ritual that we would be able to learn and train from them faster and faster every day. Faster and faster every day. And so we have these things. On the left is Todd Rogers. Cheated at Pac-Man. It could be have the facts here wrong if it's not Pac-Man, but claimed to be the #1 video game player at, I'm just going to say Pac-Man. Someone will correct me in the comments. And that later on, in order to prop his own self up, he found an opportunity to be the referee for one Billy Mitchell, who claimed to be the world's greatest player of Donkey Kong. And so now Todd Rogers is leaning on the Xipe Totec ritual of Billy Mitchell, because Todd Rogers becomes more legit if he can be the referee of this other guy who's doing the same thing. This is Todd Rogers saying, hey, Xipe Totec, if you do the same, what I've done will be less. And so you have these things. We are being taught by these things. This is teaching us. I have Elon Musk here because I think it's quite profound that these three are the same. Todd Rogers, Billy Mitchell, and Elon Musk have all done exactly the same thing. Each of them have claimed to be the #1 player of a video game in which they weren't. Each of them has claimed to do something that required them to lean on someone else outside of this place to do it for them, i.e. Xipe Totec. We know these figures, although some of you probably don't know Billy Mitchell or Todd Rogers. I didn't either until I really just looked into this thing. I've seen this idea around. But it's not a rarity. This is not a deep state thing. Do you know what I mean by that? Guys, video games aren't legit as long as we just find Billy Mitchell. If we find Billy Mitchell and remove him, then now video games are legit again. First of all, it's funny how important we think video games are. But second of all, we tell ourselves that the same way we say about the deep state, that look, all this is legit. We just have to find a scapegoat and use him to cleanse it. We will find one person, turn him into a rag, and claim that all the dirtiness has been gathered by this person, and we can sweep him out the fence. And so we do. We have. We will. And we continue because, quite frankly, it's a creative act. And you know what else? It's what nature would do. This is right up nature's alley. Nature loves camouflage. Nature loves camouflage. Nature loves camouflage so much that we're living in a world that insists there's no lies, which means that we are living in a forest in which there are creatures that we do not see. You are living in a forest, and there are creatures that you do not see, and the only reason why you don't see them is because you need more Xipe Totec. You need the medicine of Xipe Totec to see you so that you can discern more, so you can stare in the face of some of these horrible things and say, no, I am still cringing over the fact that someone in my immediate family would do this to me. It's still cringy to me. And it's been that way my whole life, and so I try and block it out. And I have everyone around me that's saying that didn't happen to help because they don't want to admit it either. And that this didn't just happen to me. This happened to me at 0.001% of what had happened to your ancestors last time around. In fact, I would argue the only reason why I'm bringing it up is because I've probably gotten off safe. If it would have happened to me more, I don't think I would have even been able to bring up what I brought up in the beginning of the stream. That the Xipe Totec is a Goldilocks, guys. Do you know what that means? It's not too cold, it's not too hot, right? The trauma's not too cold, the trauma's not too hot, it's just right. And you can see. The rabbit can only see things that it thinks it can get away. This is the only thing the rabbit can see. There's no reason to see anything else. There's no reason. In fact, if you saw something and you believed you could not get away, I think you'd freeze. I'm living in a room, newly divorced, and haven't been happier in over 2 decades. Barfling, Arcane. Congratulations if you can say this thing. This is tough. It took me 8 years to say this. Can you thank them? The shame. Do you have shame? I hope you do. I hope it's just the right amount, because it means that's how far you came. And if you didn't have shame about the old relationship, it maybe you didn't grow. Maybe. I think there's a million ways to do this. I'm not saying that I've seen the only way, but I do think that the shame that I have for the behavior of the generation above me, the shame I have for some of them patrons, some of them my family members, some of them my aunt, some of them are employees that were used to be really committed to this whole COVID truth thing. And that all of the shame that I have about that is just me growing from it. Financially, it costs me too much because I can't afford to keep learning those things. And they always come dressed as a Xipe Totec of, James, I want to help you do the show. Oh, it's the only way. My friends, it's the only way. This is the only way. If you can taste that shame and be proud of it, maybe not proud. If you can taste that shame and understand how far you've come, the pride will be enough to where you don't have to hear it. It'll gurgle. It'll go, I'm proud of you. And that'll be your enteric system. Your little belly will say, I'm proud of you. But you won't hear it. But you'll smell it. It'll be there. And if you can separate yourself from the old world, you'll start getting more resources. You're going to have to cut off those tentacles and reestablish. And you can only build new tentacles when you cut the old ones off. So it becomes quite a necessity. You know, it really does. You guys are still listening, so I'm going to keep going. These three all did the same thing. They brute forced fame. They hacked into something that wasn't theirs and claimed it as their own. And the only thing that they have that keeps them alive is the forward momentum of the Xipe Totec. It's the forward momentum of lying more, lying more, lying more. It's the only thing they have. And what's sad about these people, you can see it on Billy Mitchell's face. You can see it in Elon Musk's face. You can see it in Todd Rogers' face, is that when they're alone, it's awful. Like it's the worst thing they could imagine. I've actually shown you some video of Musk about being alone. I've shown you some video about how deeply he suffers when he's alone. How important he finds someone like Grimes, who he thinks is just, the world thinks she's hot, so he acquires her. And he acquires her and he feels nothing. He feels so little that he has to name his kid a novelty XR4TI kind of word, because it's just a frump. Every person is trivial when you're extroverted. Every single person in your life is trivial. Nothing has any meaning at that point. Which, frankly, is why it becomes so possible to cheat on these things, because nothing else has meaning. And so Billy Mitchell didn't have meaning, and he found a way to hack it. And the Xipe Totec of society said, we want more. I want to fall for more. It was a mutual relationship between these two. They were mutually benefiting each other. And we do it too, because if we buy these lies, we know that society itself will be buying a lot more lies, and we can insert our own too. It's okay to own this, because it's okay. It was a great card, Mercury. Thanks for noticing. Or OA, thank you for noticing. I was hoping somebody would see that. You want the world to lie, not just because of the therapeutic teaching quality of Xipe Totec, but quite frankly, so you can survive too. It's true. You're going to be uncomfortable about the way you look, about the way you stand, about the way you sound, all these things. I just chipped off another tooth that if I had more money, I would fucking get fixed. I woke up and there's half a tooth in my mouth. And I'm just like, fuck. And I don't even say fuck because of my own teeth. I'm so far behind. I say fuck because it's like, this is going to be even harder to do a show. That's why. This is where it's at. And I think this is where all of us are at, which is why I try not to bring this up a lot. Some of you guys are right there along with me. And quite frankly, you giving me money only makes me feel bad. Thank you. I need it. and also I've learned something, that the richer someone is, the less they're going to give. Guys, we had someone in here, Jane and her husband, John something. These guys have like 400,000, like hundreds of thousands of acres at their disposal. They're richer than anyone else I've ever met. And for a while, she was a patron here, paying the lowest amount that she possibly could. And when she hosted an event, she made everyone sign a liability waiver because she was so terrified that it might get lost. So even the idea of having friends come over to your house when you're super rich becomes something dangerous that you won't participate in. And these are the richest people I know. People that would be able to drop a $10,000 grant and say, produce your fucking show, man. Fucking do it. And they won't, and they can't, because of Xipe Totec. Who do you fucking trust? You don't. A lot of people have trust funds now where not a lot of people, but some people have trust funds now. This really hit me because if you're establishing a trust fund, a living will, you're really telling your own kids, I don't fucking trust you. I don't trust you. I trust a brick and mortar legal place more than I trust you. And so I'm going to give it to them, and then they will bequeath it to you at their luxury, at their disposal, and I get to decide how that happens. Even though the world is dynamic, even though it changes, it's not. And this is the trust we have in ourselves. I know for a fact that my mother, when she was alive, trusted Oprah more than she trusted me. I know she did. I would hear the arguments. I remember once, I didn't know this was an argument. I didn't mean for it to be an argument, but Oprah's on TV telling everybody she knew what it was like to be poor. And I thought I was polite, maybe I wasn't, but I was like, I think that she used to be poor, but I don't think that she knows what it's like to be poor. And my argument was, you don't get to say that you know what it's like to be poor unless you are fucking poor right now. Because your mind, your mental capacity, the iron dome that fucking is covering your brain is gone. And you were reminiscing about what it used to be like to be poor. And most of the generation that's dying with their money that did all this to all of us will not give it to you, will not give it to me because they want to die with it. They want to die with it. They do not want to do a fucking thing to change this world. Why the fuck would they change it? All that would do is show how foolish they were, then they'd end up having to drink all this shame at the end of their life. Who wants to do that? Who? Do I want to drink shame at the end of my life? I'm going to tell you something. I don't think I'm going to have to. I can't think of how many times I've pointed out and expressed how colossally retarded this generational respect that we keep giving each other is. That how horribly unconstructive it will always be. And that we end up with these made by Jim Bob shit where everything's like we're orthodox, but somehow we're in the porn industry, and that everyone's like following that around going, yeah, you're orthodox and you're in the porn industry, which means clearly you know what's going on. And it's like, yeah, the Xipe Totec, I get it. This is what we want. This is what we need, which is why we vote for the people that we vote for. Guys, we're not failing. Do you know how insane it must have been the very first time someone said, I'm going to cut off that person's skin and wear it around the village? You know how much bravery that fucking took? I'm trying to say that in order for someone to do that for the very first time, it probably had to have some kind of deeper, oracleized importance. Do you understand? Murder is the same way. War is the same way. Scalping someone is the same way. That it's like, no, I can't kill you. I need to have the top of your fucking head while you're still alive, because the top of your head while you're still alive carries some kind of symbolic meaning that I'm not really sure what it means. And you know what? We do the same thing to deer horn. We scrape the velvet off the deer horn, and when you look at the stem cells on the microscope, you're like, well, I'll tell you something. The Infinity engine is fucking deer antlers. Deer antlers never die. They never experience age. They never experience puberty. There is something about the stem cells in deer antlers that have this special kind of thing. And we know these truths, which is why we chop each other's scalps off. We know these things. We are completely in tune with what's going on, which is why we pick the leaders that we do, because of the medicine that they bring. Have respect for yourself. And the psychopathy starts to change to therapeutic. It's not a fun hot tub, I get it. But it's the truth of this place. You're going to see more of it when you do that. You're going to be able to look at these people more. What if I was to tell you that if you were to expand your compassion enough that you could look at this picture and only this picture and be able to discern every single thing? Try it with me. Let's start with Todd. Look into his face. You're going to unzip the Xipe Totec, and you're going to see what's underneath. You can see it right now. You can see it right now. There's a sense of urgency, a sense of fear, a sense of desperation. You and I are not trained in Xipe Totec enough. But at one point we will be. I think this is part of why AI is here. That eventually AI will be discerning everything. And the discernment, you know what it'll do? It won't make us lie less. It'll make us lie better. And the better we lie, the better our discernment brings. Which means the more lies we have, the more compassion it brings. The more people are ripping off the skin of other people and wearing it on their outer shell, the more we start to look underneath. I guarantee you this. If one person showed up in your village, in your neighborhood, and was wearing the skin of one of the girls in your neighborhood and on your street, you would be looking deeper at the person below that skin because you would want to know who the fuck did that. You would want to know who the fuck did that. You would want to know who did that more than anyone else. And you would develop the ability to see below a costume. You would develop the ability to discern that there are two different things. And in a primitive mind that thinks in the idea that this place runs on hearts, this is fucking amazing. The psychological implications of this thing, right? That it's slowly increasing. FAMB. I'm not sure what FAMB. Fam? Did I say that? If I said that, I'm not sure. Someone can clarify, and I will clarify whatever I said. So the Todd Rogers has gone on to claim other Guinness Book of World Records. All those have turned out to be false. So is Billy Mitchell. Look at Billy's face. Whoops. Look at Billy's face here. Does this look like somebody who is the world's greatest Donkey Kong player? Or is this Xipe Totec? The compassion, the only thing that stops your compassion is disgust. I'm not saying you have to be disgusted with Billy. In fact, if you don't know the story, you probably aren't going to be disgusted. In fact, I think the fact that it's video games is so crucial because it allows you to be less disgusted. The fact is it's something trivial. And because it's trivial and you're seeing how much lies went into this place, you're able to see it better. And I think this is the key to Musk. I think that Musk is such a beautiful Xipe Totec in this situation. Because he lied about video games, it makes it easier to see. It's not your taxes. It's not saving humanity by moving to Mars. It's not saving pedophiles by sending a submarine underground. It's not revolutionizing traffic. It's not revolutionizing payments. It's not creating a robo-taxi. It's not creating a magical solar roof tile that we still don't see. It's not a Hyperloop tunnel. It's none of those things. None of those things. We call him because he shows us Xipe Totec. He shows it to us. You're educated by such things. Infidelity, Xipe Totec, same thing. It's beautiful. Theros, whatever, right? Elizabeth Holmes, 0 qualifications. Larry Ellison, the very guy that's teamed up with Sam Altman right now and Elon Musk to create AI, fell for Elizabeth Holmes. Fell for it. Former Secretary of State believed her. Former Secretary of Defense believed her. Another former Secretary of State believed her. 2 senators believed her. The Navy Admiral believed her. A Marine Corps General believed her. The CEO of fucking Wells Fargo believed her. The CEO of engineering firm Belchin believed her. A former epidemiologist and 1 executive. All of them believed her. They all believed. They all fell for Xipe Totec. So it's not a luxury of poor people to be lied to. Right? This is one of these is a Kennedy spacesuit. The other is Buzz Lightyear. One of you guys is probably going to argue, actually probably none of you will, but if someone who hasn't watched me a lot or really loves NASA is going to argue, James, this is fucking propaganda, man, because clearly Buzz Lightyear had to have come after the Z1 space prototype because they would make it to match the Z1 space prototype. So clearly the Z1 space prototype would have had to have come first. And it didn't. It didn't. Sputnik, which one came first, the fantasy or the reality? The fantasy came first. The fantasy of satellites came first. Rocketry, same thing. Landing on the moon, same thing. But that's even if we landed. I don't fucking know. I'm saying I don't know because I love the mystery. I think it's more fun that way. But they didn't do it. But hey, there's mystery. And this is the fantasy came first. If the fantasy keeps coming first, maybe fantasy is more important. Maybe fantasy means pretend. This word we talked about. To pretend is to prepare for something that will come. Elon Musk isn't lying to you. He's pretending. This is a difference. Sounds the same. Sounds like I'm trying to get out of it, right? But I'm not. He's preparing for something that will be there by saying it's there when it's not. That's what Trump does. Trump promised you that we'd have boobies on the moon last election. He said that. He said we're going to put boobies on the moon. And all of us picture boobies being weightless on the moon. Even the women did. They were like, how's that going to work? And yeah, and now he's reelected. We're not doing that. You know what we're doing? We're going to put a fucking flag on Mars. We're going to put a fucking flag on Mars. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, fake it till you make it is it's just simply how you get it done, especially on a broad scale. Which one of these is a roller coaster at Walt Disney and which one of these is a roller coaster at Kennedy Space Center? Which one? Do 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 do. More importantly, do do. What's the difference, right? These guys created the aerial spray policy of the CDC. Neither one of them is scientists, but they decided we need to spray. So millions of honeybees died. Same people had Parkland. Same people had the shooting. Same people had Fort Lauderdale. You know where Billy Mitchell's from? Fort Lauderdale. First AIDS case came from here. First Corona. One of the first Corona hits came from here too. It's when you start to find a place that's willing to lie, all the lies come from there. Billy Mitchell and the other guy lived 12 miles away from each other when this happened in Florida. These guys. And so once you start to notice that it's okay to not have integrity here, then you create a den. And when you create a den, you have the ability to do a lot of things. A lot of things, right? And these things allow you to do a lot because the more other people see the legitimacy of it, the more other people want to do the same. So they want the same thing. I want to show you one more thing here. And in order for me to do this, I'm going to do home, I, and then end, O, and then M. Bear with me. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm going to do a quick little export here. I think this is the right thing. Yeah, clipboard, safety vest, Richard's saying. And I remind you of the laws of placebo. That if you have a clipboard, the medicine that you distribute to someone is going to be 15% more powerful than if you didn't. In fact, I just made it the number 15% because I knew it would make you believe me more if I put a number next to it. I should have said 17% because 17 would give you this idea that I counted. That I was super accurate, that it was important to me. And so I spent the extra time to actually come up with a number, and I told you that number is 17%, right? So this is part of the same thing. It's a Xipe Totec that I place.
The United States will once again consider itself a growing nation, one that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
Those
under the
those faces kind of say it all, don't they? You can see Musk right here, claiming he's claiming credit for the whole thing right here in this fist bump right here. He's like, "This is me. My Xipe Totec is winning." And I don't care how you personify these people, but this face is priceless. This face is priceless. This is how I used to feel growing up. Noticing how this place worked. This is exactly how I used to feel. Right? The lie of this stream is the cheating statistics. Okay, yeah. Could be. I don't know. Yesenia is saying that. Do you think that more people cheat or less, Yesenia? Because I actually just told you what the AI thought. But yeah, that could be the lie of the stream. Could be. I'm curious to know if you think it's more or less, though. I don't even think we'll ever know. And I say I don't think we'll ever know because I'm not convinced that it's inherently wrong, because we've created a situation where we've made ourselves lie, which kind of makes it okay. We're placing ourselves into eternal contracts that are supposed to last until we die, regardless of what the other person does, unless they get sick. It's the only way out is unless you get sick. But you can do whatever else you want, and I'll have to be there until this day. You know, it's only gross because you see how far you've come. It's only gross because you don't understand that it's progress. The more you recognize it's progress, the more you realize that you're just grooming the back of your neck for the very first time. Right? But that's all. Yeah, look at that boy's face. He's not dumb. He's not dumb, Enlightened Dawn. Not only is he not dumb, he's screwed. He's screwed. He's sitting next to the biggest liar he's ever met. And the whole time he thought that he was supposed to have pride in his family. And he's confused because he's not sure how to have both. How do I have pride and lie at the same time? And no one's taught him these things. He'll figure it out, don't worry. There's enough cutthroat pieces of shit like Musk which will raise him right. He will be raised properly. The only person that could have married Ivanka Trump was Jared Kushner, and he was raised by Netanyahu. And when you go back to your parents and you think about all the psychopathy that you might have drank, you get to compassionate them too, because you get to see how important it was from their perspective that you become a psychopath too. That if you're going to survive, you're going to be surrounded in this place by people like Musk, and no one's going to give you a clue how to handle it. Do you know why? Because they're too involved in it too. I think it took years for people to even admit that Xipe Totec was a thing. That he'd be wandering around the village and you'd just go with it. Yeah, I think he's torn too, and it's beautiful. I wish him luck. And also I think this guy is torn too. I'll show you here in a sec. This always has trouble getting out of full screen. I think this guy has trouble too. I'm talking about Billy. Do you want to know why I think Billy is suffering right now more than anything else? Because he has 3 kids. Billy has 3 kids. They live in Weston, Florida. And this guy's smeared across the internet as the biggest cheater in the world. And when he sees Musk come out, he probably feels better. Probably does. The bitterness that's inserted there would have to be amplified every time his kids wake up and ask for cereal. And from the moment they're 5 until the moment they're 11, he's able to protect himself from this. And then he knows that one day he'll come home from work or they'll come home from school and they will simply know. And do you know what that face looks like? It looks like that. This is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. Tricky woo. Maybe Baron can break this cycle of psychopathy. Maybe. Or he's not supposed to. Guys, I don't think that... I think it's... The idea that we could all be honest with each other is also fascism. What did I just say? It's also fascism. And I think one of the reasons why us being honest with each other is fascism is because, quite frankly, we need secrets to find ourselves. Got a lot of pushback from this, but the only way you could find identity while following God would be to sin. It would be to sin in the smallest sliver you could possibly can in order to distinguish that you were forging your own path and it just wasn't as perfect as God's. It's like that. And when you look at God's path, it looks much more like an orca. It's Xipe Totec. The path of God is Xipe Totec, and you're never going to be able to follow that. You're going to fucking sin. Do you know why you're going to sin? Because you're a nice person. You're going to sin because you love, because you're finite, because you're only here for a while. You're going to choose sanctity, and you're going to choose sanctity in this world by putting on someone else's skin. Ugh. Ugh, right? Are you ready for that? Are you ready? That's what I'm saying, B. Is psychopathy really wrong? Yeah, okay, there you go. Yeah, B's like, you just said it. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. This is what I mean. There was a time when you would have heard me, you probably remember this, B, a long time ago, where I was like, we have to defeat psychopathy. We're going to fucking find psychopathy and destroy it. We'll find psychopathy. It's like, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. You want Xipe Totec. You may find yourself being Xipe Totec. How's it going to feel? I don't know, man. I'm working on it too. I'm working on it too. I really am. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. I think that I think all of us only have opportunities to skinwalk when things get hard. And if things don't get hard, none of us would have this opportunity. So about the worst thing that could possibly happen is for everything would just simply be easy. I think the moment that things would become easy, I believe psychopathy would actually go up. I believe that the moment things get easier, if you were to live 500 years, I don't think that we would feel the same way we do about dogs. I don't think we would love our dogs. I know you're like, there's no way, James. Of course I understand. I do. I fucking love dogs, man. I wish I could afford to have dogs. I wish I had more money so I could have a little mini farm and I could have dogs. I could put them on the show, put little sheep camera on them, right? I would do that. I fucking love animals so much. I have pet mice here because I can afford them. They eat birdseed. They're really cheap and I fucking love it. But if I live for 500 years, I don't think that I would feel the same way. It's the same way with a fly. I'm not going to bond with a fucking fly. I've tried. Sometimes I do for a little bit, but then they leave and I don't fucking know who they are. I can't remember their name. There's nothing for me to bond to in that place because, quite frankly, their finitude is in such a different scale that I just can't relate. And when we approach immortality or when we fantasize about approaching immortality, because we've never made any notches towards it, have you noticed that? The longevity of life isn't getting longer. And sure, you could say it's because of Rockefeller, but it's not. It's really not. Built into us is the idea that, look, we want the video game to be a special thing. The arcade at the mall was so good because you had to drop a quarter into a machine. And when you dropped a quarter into the machine, you imbued the token with finitude and with importance because you only had 6 quarters. And you drugged them the whole way in your pocket and you didn't lose one of them. And now you're fucking here. And when you're looking at all the games, you're not looking at which game's going to allow me to win. You're looking at which game is going to give you a really good vibe. Which one's going to make you feel amazing. And all that happens because of the finitude. I swear to you, it makes no sense unless you do the math. But if you picture, you would think that the arcade would want you to play all the time because they would want you in there. But that's not the product. The product is the quarter that you place in the machine. That's the video game. That's it. The purpose of the games themselves is just to take that token back away from you without you feeling cheated. This is what it is. That's the whole purpose. We've missed the meaning of why we came to the mall in the first place. We're not here to win. We're not here to survive. We're here to have fun. And Xipe Totec is the key. You're going to have to compassionate fucking skinwalkers to pull this off. And you can do it. I know you can, because look at who's leading us right now. Look at who's in charge. I know you can do this. I know you can. I know we can. We just have to practice more. We just need more Xipe Totec. We just need more Elizabeth Holmes. We just need more NASA. We just need more Space Center. We just need more Scott Israel. We just need more David Hogg. We just need more people like the mayor of Fort Lauderdale to say that Elon Musk is building an underground tunnel here in 2021 and he's going to revolutionize traffic. We need these things. This is what we need. Promises of robots that don't come. All of these things make this happen. And we're the ones that create it. Do you know who made Musk? This guy did.
So, Tesla just announced a whole human-sized, human-shaped, sentient robot. This is not a drill. This is a thing that really just happened.
It didn't just happen, right? This video's still up. How come the video's still up? Why is YouTube not taking this down? Why? Why is no one saying, hey, Marquis, you got it wrong? I mean, except I am. But why are people not flocking to me to say, James, you were right? Is it because I was wrong? Because I was right? No. It's because of charisma. My ability is Xipe Totec. And Marquis doesn't need to lie. Marquis needs to believe. Do you understand? Marquis doesn't need to lie. He needs to believe. And if he can authentically tell you that he believes in that, it's going to make you feel better, because you're going to feel there's more truth in the world, and you're going to naturally flock to someone that makes you feel that way. I'm talking about average. If you can do the best you can to compassionate where most people are here. Doesn't need to be true. He told you this is actually a thing. This is really happening. This is not a drill. He used all three of those words, and it didn't happen. It wasn't true. It was a lie. He's still on top, though.
And
he's still on top. And I'm still not. So we don't want truth. We want Xipe Totec. And I'm here to tell you, it's not because we're broken. This is a top-notch gear. We are looking at running as we're still learning to crawl. You cannot even fathom it, because you're just like, well, wait, what? That's just fucking wrong. And it is. We're down here crawling. It's fucking wrong. These people the elites have had a lot more time. This is what makes them elite. There's just more Xipe Totec, more practice, right? A lot of elites are taken away at the age of 4. They're doing the best they can too. And you end up with this kind of face. You end up with this kind of face. And you end up with people that, quite frankly, are too rewarded to say no. This is supposed to be a fucking Marine. The ultimate line of defense for truth. The American way. And he fucking got conned by a 20-year-old bimbo. Excuse me. But a 20-year-old bimbo. And Elizabeth Holmes. See, you thought I was talking about her. No, I was talking about Musk. Musk is technically a 20-year-old bimbo. And Elizabeth Holmes. Fooled both of them fooled him. This is a fucking Marine. Is a general. Look at how many wars he's been in. Look at how many times he's been able to survive, and he could not survive these two. And he's the Joint Chief. He's the fucking Joint Chief. Or was. Right? We want this, guys. How come no one has ever asked, what the fuck is this picture? I've never heard anyone ever ask. I mean, obviously I have. But I'm talking about anyone on any kind of national, any kind of... Joe Rogan has still not asked, what the fuck is this picture? Guys, what the fuck is this picture? And more importantly, why the fuck are people not asking? And you know why. You know why. Yes, the turtleneck does increase believability by plus 10. You're right. You're right, Jay. It's true. I should wear a turtleneck when I'm doing this. Do you think about how safe it feels for Musk? When you're scrolling on Twitter, you see this picture and no one fucking asks. Or the ones that ask, they're so small, their voices are so little that it just never hits. Right? Augmented reality, is that the answer, Jay? Are we saying this is augmented reality? Is it? Because seriously, this is probably what would be said, right? Well, what do you mean? Why would you not put a car up so that you can shoot it from 360 degrees and exactly mimic the car in space? Why? I mean, James, if you already have a car in the space, why would you not create a video stage to show that you have a car in space with a live... I mean, if you already have a live video feed of the car in space, you would want to build one here. You'd want this. The point is not that this is a lie. That's old James True. The point is that this is a lie and everyone needs it. That's the point. That's the only point. This is definitely a lie. There's no, well, because no, you're not you, anyone in particular, but this is how we soothe ourselves. This is called inflammation. We move past this because of inflammation, because quite frankly, if it's this big, then it touches everything. And this is why I think Trump's doing you a favor. I think Trump's doing you a favor because Trump is, in my opinion, the Xipe Totec of Trump is actually showing you what's inside. I really think that. And I get it. You know, it's, you may mistake this that I personally really like Trump. I don't know him, so I can't say either way. But I feel a certain way after every psyop that he's involved in. And the psyop, after he finishes, I always feel like I just watched an archetypal lion do something fucking amazing. I felt this way a long time. I never voted for Trump. I don't have to appreciate his calligraphy on the magical stage and vote for him too. And I think this is probably the trickiest thing that it takes. In order for you to compassionate Xipe Totec, you have to know that you can respect what he's doing, like what he's doing in the sense of being impressed by it. Let me say that. You can be impressed by what Xipe Totec's doing and still not approve. This is the lesson of compassion that so many people are unable to understand, is that I can compassionate you without consenting what you do. To compassionate someone is not consent. And this is a deep lesson that many of us don't learn, which is why we don't compassionate. When we don't compassionate, we do not look to see, are you a skinwalker? Are you a skinwalker? Because we might end up agreeing, and we don't want to agree because we cannot afford to agree because we know this is dangerous. I just told you how the immune system worked. It probed, can't get through, too hard to compassionate, through, come right back and say, fuck that guy. And this is what we do all the time, and keep doing that. I don't think that it gets better if you stop doing that. Take it from me who just lost somebody. It doesn't get better. The sooner you look into that, the sooner you question, the sooner you cut that off, the sooner you're going to be free. I had to stop talking to this person like a year or two ago. I had to stop because I was losing myself in the insanity. I just kept having to double down on every single reason why I kept feeling awful. How every visit, I just felt more and more like a piece of shit. How every time I went down, I just felt that I was just completely wrong and I had no concept at all about the world and what had worked and what was important. And about 1.5 years ago, after this guy Brent took the money, after my aunt took the money off me, after Jennifer, who I hired to run this thing, took that money, I started to say, I can't afford to do this anymore. They were my Xipe Totec and they helped me. They were willing to show me that people will get this close to you and they will tell you that they believe in your vision and that they would never let you down. And the whole time they're taking money from you and putting it in their pocket and not doing anything. It took that much. It takes a shitload of hyena to make a lion say, fuck this place. It takes that much sometimes to make you get up. You got to watch so many scraping vaginas pretending to be penises, and they're taking bites out of you, and the whole time you're like, I don't want to eat because I don't know if I deserve this kind of survival. I don't know if I deserve to be here anymore. And quite frankly, the lion's probably like, do I even want this place? Do I even want to be its king? Am I really proud of these hyena? Am I really proud of taking the weakest link? And the lion goes through an identity crisis too. The whole jungle has these things. But the Xipe Totec doesn't show you. And if it showed you, you would do the same. So if we hide these things from ourselves, we're forced to prop ourselves up. We're forced to find our spine when others couldn't. And this is what turns a chordate into a vertebrae. You say, fuck everyone's reef, I'm making my own. And then you notice how expensive it is and you try ways to tear it apart. Then you say, why did I tear you apart, reef? I fucking love you. And you go through your whole life doing that thing. And this is dance. This is why you're here. Guys, there's no reason to build this thing. And the lesson is not that Elon Musk is lying. The lesson is that people want to believe. Do you realize how expensive it is to believe that the leader of a government program that's here to save the leaking of money happens to be the person that took the most? And that's going to clean it? This is important stuff. If America's going to fall properly, everyone needs to watch. And if you can get everybody to look as America falls, everyone's going to learn. And the learning of that thing is why we're here. It's the same thing as the arcade game. It's the same thing as the arcade game. You're not here to win the game. You're not here to get a high score. Guys, I've been playing video games my whole life. I never check the high scores. I know for a fact some of you are like, that's impossible, that's bullshit. Because some of you guys are so convinced that winning is what it's all about. And I'm not trying to take that away from you. I'm just saying that I think in my previous life, I was just obsessed with winning. I was also raised by someone who was so fucking competitive that it just made it not fun. If you're living with someone who competes on that psychopathic level where they're going to fucking win no matter what, why do you even want to play? Why do you even want to go? I'm not convinced in proving my mettle by being better than someone because I think that person probably isn't that great. So if I'm better than them, how does that work? Because really I'm lowering how I felt about myself by saying, well, I'm better than him, which means that I'm not up here, I'm down here, but then this high. And then I find someone else. I'm not better than myself, but I'm better than him. So I'm down here, but I'm this high. And I'm down here and I'm this high. And this is a creative way to the bottom. And we don't go to the bottom because we fall. We go to the bottom because it's safe. We don't go to the bottom because we fall. We go to the bottom because it's safe. I've done this too. This is how I know these things. Why I know these things. I know things. Dude was a boy band keyboard player. And you cannot tell anyone that. If you try and tell people that Brian Cox was in a boy band and he played keyboards and that basically one day University of London said, hey, we need a spokesmodel. This is the thing. And they called him a professor because they put him on board and they gave him a salary. And now this dude's walking around telling people what physics means. I'm not making this up. This is what it takes. Science is charismatic. We will find the complete blending of the perfect model to be a spokesman for this place. And they did, and they do. And God bless Brian Cox because he's good at his job. And no one doubts a thing. and it props up a giant church, and we end up with the space program and all these other things, and more Xipe Totec, which means this fucker's helping. He's helping. The inauguration. Flags are at half-mast. I know that we're like, well, it's because of Carter. And James, there's no way the country's closing. And James, why do you think ceremony's so important? And I'm just like, you guys are fucking high. Fine, whatever. Fine. But the inauguration has the UN flag on either side. I know you probably don't see that, but this is the UN flag in blue. And so the overarching idea here, in my opinion, is that you're surrounded. This is the element of you're surrounded and the country's dead. And you're going to slowly prime the world into teaching that. And I've been slowly trying to prime people into telling that this place closed during DPA, thanks to Obama and Trump. But people don't want to think that way. People are insisting that the most psychopathic government that's ever been created would have an obligation, not just to tell you that they closed, but to physically make sure that you understand that they closed. So it's not just a matter of if they do a ritual that physically shows that their colors are gone and that they're closed, but they actually have to come to your house and convince everyone in your family that you're closed. And only then would it be the truth. And this is the mentality of people. You know why it's the mentality? Because it's Xipe Totec. They don't fucking trust me. Who the fuck knows what's underneath my skin? Lucifer? I'm fucking Lucifer because I'm telling you these things, right? So these things teach. They teach me. You know what they taught me? That if I come to this world and I be honest and I live my name and I say the truth to everything, that I will naturally rise to the top and people will naturally say, dude, you're fucking legit. And it doesn't happen that way. I make more enemies by telling the truth than I do by Xipe Totecing my way through this place. More enemies. You do too. That's why I love you. That's why we're here. And frankly, that's why you watch me. Man, just join Patreon. Just join for like $7 a month for a year. And I want you to do that and to say, I'm supporting what I like in this world and feel good about that. And every month when you watch the show, or every day that you watch the show, I want you to understand that there's a pranic send back to you, that you get to feel that you're contributing to this place. Yes, this is self-serving. What's wrong with serving the self? What's wrong with helping me? What's wrong with you helping me? What's wrong with us creating this opportunity to talk and to talk about these things? I need your help. I wouldn't ask if I didn't. It's a blessing that I'm here asking you for help, because it makes these opportunities where I end up exposing these things that I normally wouldn't say. Please help. Help me make this show better. You can join Patreon right now. It's so easy. Just do it free. It's like $7 a month for like a year. Just do that. Just say, I'm going to do that. And then you're done. Every time you hear me, every time you see me, you're going to get a bump. But if you're too locked in your Xipe Totec, you're not going to notice that thing because you're too busy being Xipe Totec. Seriously. Man, can you just help the show? Please. Love you guys. See you next time.